Is eating meat killing the planet? According to scientists, human beings have been eating meat for a little over 2.5 million years. Prior to that, for about 4 million years, human beings have been eating strictly plant-based products. There are a lot of scientific studies done to understand which one of the diets is more suited for human consumption. Though these results have been contested, a high majority of the scientists agree that human beings are more suited for consuming plant food than meat. The teeth of human beings, especially the lack of a powerful canine, seems to point to the natural adaptation of a plant-based diet. The human digestive system, with very lengthy small and large intestines, are much closer to other herbivores, like deer, and very different from carnivores, like a tiger or a lion. Other attributes like the facial structure and internal circulatory systems all seem to point that a human diet should be plant-based and not meat-based. Not to mention some subjective theories, which project a sluggish post-meal period, when meat is consumed, unlike a much better energy level after a vegetarian diet. However, we are not going to talk about human health, or how a meat diet is helpful or harmful to a human being. We are not here to give a moral judgment on the immense cruelty caused to animals, which are grown as food for humans. Instead, our interest here is to focus strictly on how eating meat affects the planet we live on. Also, we have tried to keep this discussion based on verified data, and not on speculative theories. So, let's answer this simple question. Is eating meat by humans killing the planet? Meat is a very broad term, and people from different countries consume different type of meat, though there are some common meat that are consumed in a majority of countries. We have focused on beef, pork, and as an extension, mutton, which is lamb, goat, or sheep meat. Chicken and seafood have their own issues, but not nearly as many studies have been done on chicken and seafood as much as beef, pork, and mutton. So, we have decided to keep the discussion based on broadly available data and the results of the studies conducted over many years. The first issue widely studied is the impact of meat consumption on climate change and global warming of the world. The research at the University of Illinois, published in the journal Nature Food, has been widely praised by several scholars, including nutritional biologists, scientists, and academicians, as one of the most comprehensive study on the greenhouse gases produced due to meat. The research was carried out in 200 countries, and data was calculated over a wide period. Results showed the use of animals for meat causes twice the pollution compared to producing plant-based foods. The research pointed out that the total emission due to food production represents 35% of all global emissions. In the United States, the release of gases due to food production is more than double the combined emissions of all the other sources. According to various studies done by the UN, among the total emissions due to food production, 57% of it comes from the use of livestock, like cows, pigs, and lambs, compared to 28% by plant-based food. As per the report published in Science Journal, beef produces the highest greenhouse gas emissions, to the tune to 70 to 80 kilograms, or around 170 pounds, of greenhouse gases, for every kilogram, or 2.2 pounds, of beef. Lamb causes the next highest greenhouse gas emission, and in comparison, beans, which are high in protein, and a substitute for meat protein, produces the lowest greenhouse gases on a comparative basis. There are 4 major reasons why the greenhouse emissions are the highest, with growing livestock for human food consumption. 1. Cows and other livestock need to be fed plant-based food. Unlike human beings, these animals feed a higher volume of plant-based food, even after considering their higher weight. The production of the cattle feed results in high greenhouse gas emissions. 2. Farmland for the cattle feed are usually obtained by clearing forests. The dense trees and plants in a forest act as the best way to absorb greenhouse gases, like carbon dioxide. Clearing the forests for feeding the animals, act as a double whammy, in global warming. 3. Farmland takes up 50% of Earth's habitable land, and there is a growing competition, of using the farmland for growing plants, for either human, or cattle consumption. When plants are grown for human consumption, the greenhouse gas emissions stop right there. When it's fed to the animals produce their own greenhouse gases, including methane, leading to a much higher increase in emissions. 4. Cooking meat takes a much higher energy than cooking plants, which has an impact on the emissions directly. Despite causing the highest emissions, and being the biggest cause of global warming, the global climate change discussions, like COP26, fail to address the 800-pound gorilla in the room, namely, consumption of meat. The unfortunate development is, meat consumption has almost multiplied 4 times, in the last 60 years, around the world. Meat is consumed in much higher quantity, in the North and South Americas, as well as Europe, compared to Asia and Africa. For example, the average meat consumption, in the United States is 124 kilograms, per person, per year, but in comparison, the average meat consumption is only 4 kilograms, per person, per year, in India. In short, livestock grown for human consumption as meat, causes more harm to global warming, than any other factor, by a wide margin. Any believer in climate change, who accepts climate change has the potential, to have a disastrous impact on the planet's survival, should think of cutting down on meat, much more, than switching over to solar power on their roof, or using electric vehicles. The second main issue, where wide-ranging data is available, is about the impact of meat and water usage. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to know the importance of water for human existence. Human beings can survive without food for more than a week, but without water, one may not last for more than a couple of days. It is widely believed nations are more likely to go to war in the future due to disputes in sharing of water than any other issue. Similar to the need to feed the cattle with plants, there is a huge need for water for the cattle as well. A lot of studies done in this area produced startling results. The United Nations has labeled the livestock industry a key player in increasing water use, and probably the largest sectoral source of water pollution. The livestock industry consumes roughly about 170 billion liters of water daily. In comparison, the entire human race consumes about 20 billion liters every day. It may come as a surprise to know you'll save more water if you stop eating a single beef steak than stop showering for 2 months. The acute water shortage in many parts of the world, including in the US states of California and Colorado, is further aggravated by digging deep bore well to feed the livestock that are grown for meat. There are lands that have gone barren due to over-exploitation of water. Studies show on a single day, a meat eater will be responsible for 15,000 liters of water consumption. According to research done all over the world, it takes approximately 1,800 liters of water to grow 1 kilogram of wheat, but you'll need to use almost 10,000 liters of water for 1 kilogram of beef. In fact, according to the American Journal for Clinical Nutrition, the diet of a meat eater requires 14 times the amount of water compared to the diet of a vegetarian. Apart from a direct consumption of water for the livestock, the animal waste gets mixed up with fresh water in most parts of the world, and makes the water less usable for human consumption. The higher the concentration of livestock in an area, the larger the water supply is polluted by the animal waste, leading to scarcity of clean drinking water. In summary, water, the crucial element for us, and our planet, for survival, is under tremendous strain, due to meat consumption. If we have to answer the crucial question, is eating meat killing the planet, the short answer seems to be a clear yes. Thanks for watching.